Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Zach Lesage, and we are here back at Rare Candy going over our PikaRom deck profile. So we did not feature a testing ground video for this deck because it's already an established deck in our current format, but it does gain a lot of strengths from Sword and Shield, so we do want to go over the deck profile aspect of this today. So if you're a PikaRom fan or if you're new to the TCG, this is going to be one of the best decks post Sword and Shield release. So let's jump into it and see exactly what we got going on here. So in this list, we have two copies of Pikachu and Zekrom. Pikachu and Zekrom GX is a great attacker because it has access to full blitz, an attack that can power up your Pokemon, and it does a whopping 150 damage. Tag Bolt can allow you to knock out two Pokemon at once, drawing multiple prize cards by doing 200 damage, but if you have 6 energies attached to you total, lightning energies that is, you will be doing 200 and then 170 damage to the bench. One of the new coming partners along the way that we've actually had it for a while now is Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX, but it is something that Pikachu and Zekrom picked up along the way. Tandem Shock allows you to go from the bench to the active and hit for extra damage and paralyze your opponent's Pokemon, something that we normally see in a GX attack, but this is a normal attack, so you can kind of paralyze your opponent's Pokemon every single turn. And Lightning Ride GX adds an additional element of doing extra damage, especially when you attach more energies to it. So between having improved HP, a different set of attacks, this is a great lightning attack that we have in the deck. In order to make the deck consistent, we have 3 copies of Jirachi here. Jirachi has seen a lot of play in quite a few decks that have done well over the past year or so since it's been released. Stellar Wish is an amazing ability. Looking at the top 5 cards of your deck, grabbing an item or a trainer card, and it allows you to just get set up a little bit more. This deck, it kind of surpasses the turn 1 rules because it can play a couple copies of Dedenne. Dedenne, with the new turn 1 rules, you can't play supporters if you go first. You can only play them if you go second. So with the Dedenne GX, you are actually able to draw cards. Every deck can run Dedenne GX, but PikaRom actually runs Dedenne GX quite well. And that's the reason why this deck sees success, because you could search it out with Electromagnetic Radar, you could search it out with Quick Ball, you could search it out with other cards as well. Just like in general, like it's a strong concept in the deck. We got 1 copy of Zamora, so giving our Pokemon free retreats if they have a lightning energy attached to them. So with this being a lightning type deck, it seems like an obvious inclusion. Got one of the new Tapu Koko V cards in this deck. So this card, I really like it because 200 for lightning colorless is strong. 200 HP for a 2 prize card Pokemon is strong. So this allows you, it works in 2 ways where it's like, this is a 2 prize card version of an attacking Pokemon. Considering these are 3 prize cards, you could force your opponent into knocking out a PikaRom, a Tapu Koko, and a Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX in that order to count for 8 prize cards. Then it's also a way for the deck to get around pesky Pokemon like Keldeo GX, something that blocks GX Pokemon. Considering this is a V Pokemon, it gets past it, they can't bring it up with Great Catcher, etc., etc. I also have a copy of Tapu Koko Prism Star in this deck. So the Tapu Koko Prism Star, you could pop it and power up your Pokemon as quickly as possible. So with cards like Quick Ball, Electromagnetic Radar, getting lightning energy in the discard pile has never been easier for this deck. And now you can totally just kind of discard lightning energies, power up your Pokemon, attack. So it makes it good. Because I expect this deck to be popular, similar to the time of around EUIC in Berlin, Germany last year. Gustavo Wada and a lot of other top players were playing PikaRom. Wobbuffet is a great counter to PikaRom, so kind of bringing that back now that PikaRom is seeing the success it deserves. Shady Tail blocking Prism Star Pokemon, namely Tapu Koko, based off of all the requirements that you have for the card. And Absol, similar to Wobbuffet, Jirachi is one of the most popular Pokemon in the format. So I just want to make sure that we are able to get around that, stop our opponent while we can, just to have any little edge that's possible. Then we have Volkner. Volkner is a great way for lightning type decks to get set up. You could search your deck for a lightning energy, and you could search your deck for an item card. So go for an item card, search for an energy. So it could be like a quick ball and a lightning energy. So you can discard the lightning energy, get out a Tapu Koko Prism Star, or an electromagnetic radar to grab a PikaRom and a Deandre GX. Whichever way you decide to use this card, it's going to be incredibly strong. I decided to go with 4 copies of Marnie. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about Marnie. I wanted this deck to be a spiritual kind of take of PikaJudge, a deck that we saw around Worlds and Atlantic City Regionals earlier this year. So players like Daniel Altavilla had a lot of success by playing 4 copies of Judge, and the strategy comes from, you have Jirachi, you're going to have Jirachi, you have a consistent basis with the Deandre GX. Can you ruin your opponent's hands and then proceed to win the game? Marnie is a very similar card. It seems like a spiritual upgrade to Judge, because you're getting 5 and your opponent's getting 4. And if they had any good cards in their hand, it's going to be at the bottom. So if you're not really feeling that, I still think I'd like a copy or 2 in this deck. But I think Professor's Research, Professor Magnolia, could be a solid addition to this deck as well. So I know I've talked about it a little bit. Got the 4 copies of Quick Ball here. Quick Ball is just a simple pitch and discard, pitch a card, and search your deck for a basic. You don't have to play it down on your bench, so it does work incredibly well with cards like the Deandre GX. Seems pretty simple. Our deck is only basic Pokemon, so we want to be able to search those Pokemon out. I also decided to put 4 copies of Custom Catcher. With Pokemon V not being able to, you can't grab them with Great Catcher, and then we don't really have that much other kind of gust effects in Standard. I think Custom Catcher has a really nice niche to it that seems strong. You could also search it out with Jirachi and Volkner, so it works really well with the engine that we have available in this deck. Speaking about cards that work really well with this deck, we got Electro Power, 4 copies of that card. So Electro Power is nice because you could do extra damage. So if you really need to reach for a knockout, especially with Pokemon V hitting over the 300 HP mark, Electro Power will help you definitely get there. So if you're trying to knock out a Zacian V, or if you're trying to knock out a Snorlax V Max, this card will help you get there. I wanted to have 4 copies of Switch to make the deck a little bit more consistent with Jirachi. Sometimes you just want to get out of the active position. A card that I've been considering cutting from the deck is the Zamora GX, just because the deck already has so much free mobility with Switch. However, this card can power up things with its GX attack, and it gets free retreat, so it doesn't sound bad. Other things that we have here are electromagnetic radar. So I wanted to have 3 copies of this. Not as much as the Great Ball, just because Great Ball is very interesting in terms of, you can grab out anything. So Absol, Wobbuffet, Tapu Koko. Like, I can list every Pokemon here, I can grab it. Electromagnetic radar can only grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards out of the deck. So that's why it's a split, but I wanted to make sure the deck is extra consistent, so that's why we have it like that. Then we have the 2 copies of Energy Switch. So sometimes you're going to have energies on Pokemon after a Full Blitz that you don't want on those Pokemon anymore. You could switch those energies around however you like. It's really helpful if you attached energy to a wrong Pokemon, or if you just need to move an energy to power up something. So maybe you were trying to power up for a Tagbolt GX and you want to get ready for a Tandem Shock. Or maybe you want to power up your Wobbuffet to get free retreat with Zamora. However it works, it is something that allows you some ability. Tag Switch allows you a little bit more. It's a little bit specific. You can move from one of your tag team Pokemon. Now, the main thing is, these are your main attacking Pokemon. So if you want to go from a damaged PikaRom into a Tapu Koko V, Tag Switch would be your best option there. Then there's just like a handful of cards here as well. Oh, I guess we want to go over the stadiums. So stadiums here, we got Thunder Mountain Prism Star and Power Plants. Thunder Mountain Prism Star is going to lower your lightning energy requirements for your attacks. Pretty self-explanatory. It's been played in this deck for a while. Power Plants, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I know that some players have been talking about playing Mew with Mimikyu, just kind of stop abilities, or you could even Tag Bolt and hit something. For me, I think Power Plant is kind of the proven concept here. So it's been working really well. But obviously, choose your stadium choice or additional stadium choice. I either want to have 1 Power Plant or 2 stadiums total, or 3 stadiums total. Kind of, that's where I'm kind of thinking of. The power plant could be a Lysander Labs, it could be a Viridian Forest. It all depends on what the metagame is at the current time. So if you do think the metagame is going to differ than what I'm going into as an unexpected metagame, power plant could see kind of a change to something else. Stadium Nav, we do want to grab our stadiums pretty easily. Got Great Catcher. As much as Pokemon B are coming out, we do have a lot of strong GX Pokemon, like the ever-powerful Mewtwo, Mew GX, or even if you're looking at this deck, PikaRom and Raichu and Alolan Raichu look like they're going to be popular cards in this upcoming format. So let's treat them as such. Reset Stamp. Sometimes you just want to stamp your opponent to absolutely nothing. That's totally a viable strategy. So that helps. And then I have one copy of the Escape Board, just to help with the Jirachi Get Free Retreat. Some players might want to do a 3-2 split if they focus more on Jirachi. I only play 3 Jirachi at this time, but that's more of a space constraint. And then last but not least, we do have 11 copies of Lightning Energy. So lay those out there nicely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got it. I love when everything fits in a list. Anyways, it's one of those things where 11's just the number that's worked for PikaRom for like the longest time. I don't really want to mess with a good thing. It does give you enough of an energy to statistically have them in your hand to discard it with cards to get them to the discard pile for Tapu Koko. Touch for your turn. You could always search them out with Volkner. So this is what we got going on for the deck today. PikaRom, it looks like it's going to be one of the top contenders going forward with our Sword and Shield format. It's been a top contender since it was released in Team Up about a year ago from the release of this video. So I think if you're looking for a strong deck to pick out right out of the gates, this has been a tried and true concept, and I hope you enjoy it. That being said, if you did enjoy the content, be sure to like, share, subscribe to our channel. If you have any additional tech cards or feedback, feel free to let me know in the comments below. And as always, we're always appreciative of all the support we receive from this channel. If you're considering becoming a patron, go to patreon.com/rarecandytcg. Totally got some cool stuff going on there, so check that out. And we also have our merch available at rarecandytcg.com. That being said, that's it for this video today. Be sure to check out on the channel for other great content coming up, and have yourself a good one.